8:44 and I'm hungry, so I have to talk about this though. Can one cake have too many flavors? That may be the question you're asking after checking out this recipe. Put on some stretchy pants before you sample this week's Brittany's Bites.
Okay, today we are making a birthday cake. Maybe not your typical cake, but it was my dad's birthday this past week, and I asked him a little while ago, Dad, if I had to make a recipe, what would you want? What would be your favorite recipe? And he said, Paul Newman cake. I said, okay, I'm gonna go look up what that is. I think I've actually had it before. I just didn't realize that was the name, and I've never made it before. Gotta warn you now, this is pure decadence. So if you're gonna make this, you're gonna have a slice or two. You're gonna have to throw the calories out the window because it's basically gonna be a pan full of calories, but it's also going to be good. So let's get started. It basically starts with a German chocolate cake. You just buy a cake mix at the store, whichever one is your favorite, and then you just bake it according to the box directions. And rather than in cake pans or cupcakes, we're gonna do a 13x9 here, which I already have cooking spray in the bottom of it so it doesn't stick. I went ahead and put the cake mix in there, so we're just gonna add the ingredients it lists on the box. We're gonna add 1 1/4 cup of water. Pour that right in. And then I have 3 eggs that I've already cracked just to get things going here. Pour that in. And then the last ingredient is just a 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. So I'm gonna pour that right in here. And this is basically a 3-step process for this cake. We're gonna bake it, we're gonna add some goodies to it, and then we're gonna top it with some frosting. The frosting is really easy, by the way. It's essentially Cool Whip. So, you know, if you're not a great baker, this is an easy one. Now I'm just gonna put this on medium to high for about 2 minutes. You really wanna whip together. Okay, we have it all mixed together. It's looking very nice and fluffy now. And boy, it's smelling so chocolatey in here. So this is the easy stuff. You know, we're not trying to pour it into cake pans and making sure it's all even, and then we're gonna have to make the layered cake afterward. Just poured it all in here. And by the way, when I was looking up and doing research on Paul Newman cake, I did discover it has a few different names. Sometimes it's called Better Than Anything cake, so maybe you've heard of it that way. Sometimes it's called Better Than Something Else cake. Let's just say it's not PG friendly. It's not television friendly, that's for sure. So we're gonna go with Paul Newman cake today. We've got it all in here, just wanna spread it out evenly. And then I'm gonna pop it in that oven for about 30 to 35 minutes. And then while it's still warm, we're gonna add a little something to it. Okay, the cake is out of the oven, smelling so chocolatey and great, and we do want to do something with it when it's still fairly warm. Not right out of the oven, but still warm, because the little concoction we're going to mix up here, we want it to soak into the cake. It's going to be so ooey gooey, moist, and great. Okay, so a can of sweetened condensed milk, that's what we're going to start with. The recipe that I saw calls for half of this 14-ounce can, so roughly 7 ounces. Okay, the other recipe that I saw calls for a 17-ounce jar of a very specific sauce, kind of these ice cream sauces. It's a caramel butterscotch together. I'm basically, be careful, that comes out a lot faster than the sweetened condensed milk. Okay, so we're just gonna pour some in, and I think we're just gonna mix it up and see what it looks like. I think this is pretty mixed up. I'll give it a little taste. It tastes pretty good. I'm gonna go with that. All right, so I'm just gonna do, it doesn't really say how many to do. So I'm gonna do a lot, all the way to the bottom. Okay, those are plenty. Now we do wanna make sure that we keep a little bit of this for the topping. Or actually, we'll see. I might pour the whole thing on because I can use these for just some decoration at the top. And just to make sure it's even, I'm gonna kind of spread it out a little bit. Like I said earlier, this is a 3-step cake process, but I think it's gonna be worth it in the end. All right, I'm gonna pop this in the fridge. Okay, I have the cake out of the fridge. It's mostly cool now, at least cool enough to get the topping on it. I realize the holes in this look pretty big, so I definitely want to do a thick enough layer of frosting, so to speak, so that it doesn't sink down in the holes. We'll see how that goes. And for that, I've just got whipped topping. So I did see one of the recipes say, though, basically use however much you want. So I'm basically just going to use a layer that seems pretty good to me. And then we will have our final thing, which is the topping. Okay, so then you can't just buy those candy bars, crunch them all up yourself, but modern conveniences. Look what's in the candy aisle or the baking aisle. You can just get the little baking pieces. These are English toffee bits. So I'm basically gonna open this up and then sprinkle it over. And this is, again, however much or however little you like. I'm gonna get these all together and then do my final thing there. Now I'm just gonna do, just to make it pretty, a little drizzle of the butterscotch and then a little drizzle of the caramel. Go with that. And now we're gonna go the other direction with the caramel. Okay, remember how we talked about calories? This is full of them, but if you want a decadent treat that is sure to please, this is it. Paul Newman cake made in honor of my dad. Cheers.
Oh my gosh, that made me like 100 times more hungry. Remember, if you've got a picture to share or an idea for a future recipe, you can text us at 614-460-3345, or you can find Brittany on social media.